Hello. Caught me by surprise there. Too distracted. It's Yvonne from Women's Fitness Adventures. Hello. Welcome to Monday Night Live. It's the 13th of June, mid-June, 2022. How did we get here? I say that every week. Time is flipping by, and I don't know about you, but each week I think, or each day, each moment, how did that time go so fast? And that is the perfect segue into what I'm going to talk about tonight. So I'm going to talk about the Queen. Last week was Top Gun, but tonight is the Queen. I'm also going to talk about consistency, showing up, what is a priority. There's a couple of little things I'll share. If you're a member, you've received the newsletter just then, which has my personal story of my back niggle. I'm going to talk about the woman in the store, and I'm also going to talk about the woman with the dog. So there's 5 things to talk about tonight. So if you're watching live, share with me, say hello, where you're watching from. I know quite a lot of our members are watching, which is lovely. Well, I don't know, but I'm going to assume so because I've got it under my feet there. I can't see you, remember, until you say hello. I've got no idea who you are. And even when you do say hello, all I know is your name and what you tell me, so I can't see you at all. So you may not know. I've got my Ugg boots on down the bottom. So you've shown up, Rod, and that is awesome. So I'm going to talk about, and Patricia's here too from Crescent Head. Hopefully we'll all last with power, because I know Queensland's going to have some power shedding this afternoon or this evening. So hopefully the power stays. So I want to talk about the Queen. Hello, Annie from Noosa. Hello, Linda. Nice to have you here. I want to talk about the Queen, Her Majesty. You know, that wonderful lady, whether you are a royalist or not, that wonderful lady who's now in her 90s, who has had 70 years on the throne, 70 years of doing the one job, well, lots of jobs, but the one task of being the Queen. And we can all learn so much from the Queen. Hi, Mandy. Hi, Cherie. I was watching the Jubilee, and hi, Sue. Lovely. I just saw your pictures. How lovely. We can all learn so much from the Queen. And I was watching the Jubilee on replay. Just as an aside, I didn't deliberately tune in. And I really thought about it, and I'd love to know your thoughts as well. You know, she didn't want that job, but she stepped in and she stepped up and she took it. And the lessons we can learn is that she showed up day after day after day. And as I said, whether you like her or not, there's very few in history that will ever be able to repeat what the Queen has done for 70 years holding the one role. And she would never have predicted, as a girl in her 20s or a young lady in her 20s, what lay ahead. She would never have predicted the next 70 years. But she did show up. And looking back, she can connect those dots probably on what those 70 years meant. But there are days where I'm sure she would have stayed in bed. But 70 years on, she has created a legacy. She has created an institution. She's created something that won't be repeated. And this may seem trivializing it, but it's not. But all she did was show up. She showed up day after day and did the job she was supposed to do. And it turned into something amazing. And that's something that we can all take for ourselves and know that if we show up and present ourselves in our lives as who we want to be, day after day after day, as who we want to be physically, emotionally, spiritually, socially, you know, all of those things, and show up, then us too, each of us too, in 70 years, I'm not sure I'll be here in 70 years, but the collective sum of all my years, I too will leave a legacy that I may never ever know about, but I have shown up with authenticity and with integrity every single day. And I think that I got all of that from the Queen's Jubilee. If you did too, I'd love for you to let me know. Hi, Roanne. Hello, Lynette from the Sunshine Coast. Lovely to have you here. Hi, Wendy, and hi, Debbie as well. So I do think that, you know, she had a lot of support, but we all do. We all have the people around us that we let into our lives that will support us to achieve what we put as our priority, what we make as the things that are important to us, which brings me to that idea of consistency and showing up. And when we book onto adventures, when we commit our minds to something, we should make that a priority. We can't wish that you know, the fitness will happen magically, or that the gear will land in our letterbox one day. We need to do the hard stuff. which brings me to my little back niggles. So I'm pretty active. I do, and I'm sharing this story because a big realization dawned on me the other day. And if anyone else has this realization, or you've had it and go, Yvonne, how come it took you so long to figure that out? I'd love to know. Is that I have a little bit of a back niggle. Nothing serious. Hi, Alison. Just degenerative, middle 50s age-related stuff in my lower back. And because I carry a decent weight backpack most of the time, I'm strong in my body. But as I age, I need to ensure that I'm strong enough to do the activities that I want to do. And I went to the physio and he said, yep, there's nothing serious here, but we need to strengthen your back and all the muscles that support your back so that you can continue to do all the things that you want to do in, 10, 20 years time. Now, here's the kicker, though. The other day, this is my realization, is I was doing my exercises on Saturday afternoon, I think it was, lined up with the mirror so I could actually see that I'm doing them properly. Hi, Laurie from Stanthorpe. Good to see you yesterday as well. Lined up so I could see, how my alignment was. And I thought it would be really easy for me to go, I'm not doing this. It's not that bad. I can put up with it. Or to go and do the exercises like I did. And I thought about it. And if I took should be right, it's just a little bit of a niggle and I'm not going to address it. I'm not going to pay any attention to it. It'll go away. I'll put a bit of deep heat. I'll take some Panadol or some anti-inflammatories. I had this vision, maybe like the Queen did, I don't know, of what my life might be like in 5 years or 10 years time if I don't do anything about my niggle. And I don't want to be, sometimes life happens by default, not by design, but I have the choice right now to design the fitness, the functional fitness, how I want. And mine is to have the strong back muscles that support me in all the things that I want to do, because I don't want to be able to not to be able to get up and move without the freedoms that I have now. I want to be able to, jump about and hike and run and do all those things that I do now for another 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But now is a pivotal moment in my thought process to show up with consistency and do those exercises every single day. As much as they might be boring and as much as I might hate them, I know that the only way, the long-term way, is to actually do those exercises, to show up with consistency, to do the hard stuff, and to strengthen all those muscles that support my back so that I can be the person that I want to be in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Lots and lots of years ahead. Hi, Mickey. Jeanette Edgar, what exercises? Well, Jeanette, those exercises are specific to myself. However, we were doing functional fitness online the other day. Our members, it's all inclusive of membership if you're a member, but if you're not a member, you can book into those sessions as well. And we were doing some of those exercises as part of our functional fitness. And when we were doing some hiking the other day, there were quite a few of our members who were going downhill. Well, we're all going downhill, that have niggles in their knees. And that niggle in their knee is nothing to do with knee surgery. No one's had knee surgery. 99% of people that have, or women that I see that have niggles when they go downhill hiking, have not had any knee conditions at all. And what it is, it's that our muscles that support, our muscles in our glute, in our bottom, that support us to be able to walk downhill without pain when we're hiking or on a trail or downstairs, aren't strong enough. And it's an easy fix, and it's something that we need to pay attention to, or we can choose just to not walk downhill. So, there's solutions to everything. But I guess you have to be aware that you want to make the change, because I can tell, and, I have, I don't know, 16 or 17 years in women's health and fitness teaching and training. And I have lots of friends who are physios as well. And we can give all the information, and the person on the other end can have all the niggles or all the ails in the world. But it's when those two combine and actually action is taken, that all the difference in the world can be made. So, Jeanette, if you've got some back niggles, I would, and you know, I don't know what they are, but, generally if we can get on top of our niggles early, because when our body whispers to us, and mine's whispering right now, it's time to do something. This is not the first time I've spoken about this. And if we don't listen, it will start to talk loudly, and then it will shout, and then it will yell. And by the time our body is shouting or yelling at us, it's almost gone too far. So we really need to take that action, as hard as it might be to, I don't have time for exercise, for 10 minutes of doing some exercises that will strengthen my back, means that I'm not really preserving my future. From my perspective, you can choose to agree or disagree, but from my perspective, if I choose to do the hard yards now, then I'm choosing a better result for years down the track. So Michelle, hi from Narangba. Nice to see you yesterday too. Patricia, you're hearing me loud and clearly. Please elaborate on that. And Lynette says, thanks, Yvonne. This is hitting home for me. Needed to be reminded of the importance of consistency. Yep. And, there's a great show, I think, happening on Four Corners tonight about dementia, the leading cause of death in women. Now it's overtaken heart disease, according to the story. I haven't seen the story. And one of the, lots of things are important. Sleep is really important. But guess what? Exercise is important. But I know a lot of people, not you watching, I'm sure, a lot of people say they don't have time for exercise. Just saying. Jeanette, I was diagnosed with bursitis in the hip and arthritis in the lower spine. So, Jeanette, I'm not a health professional. I'm a personal trainer and lots of experience in women's fitness. Whoever diagnosed you, I would suggest you have a chat to them. And, I know lots of people with arthritis that are able to still manage what they do, lots of exercise and stuff. So I would suggest you have a chat to that health professional there. And Mandy says, showing up for yourself is as important as showing up for others, as everything we do impacts and benefits us individually and to those around us. Absolutely. And, last week was a bit of a challenging week for me, and some wise person, Mickey, you might know this wise person if you're listening, said to me that you need to look after yourself first, because if you can't look after yourself first, then how can you possibly look after anyone else around you? And I know that's the old oxygen in the plane thing, but until we do address it ourselves, how can we ever be role models for other people when we tell other people to put themselves first, to prioritize your health, to prioritize your wellness? My son got really sick on Sunday morning, 20-year-old son. We had to call an ambulance. He is okay now, but was having some breathing difficulties as well, not COVID. And, it really makes you, and he is healthy. And the AMBO said that you're, sick but well, in the scheme of what we see out there in the world. And, that's a scary thought. So we all have the opportunity, and maybe this is a bit of hard love. Maybe you're not liking what I have to say tonight. Usually I'm a bit kinder and gentler. Is that, we all have the opportunity right now to step up. We've come through a pretty tough couple of years. We are at a crossroads where everyone is so busy that it's easy to let ourselves just go by the way, to get caught up in the here, there, and everywhere. But really important, because just like the Queen, not just that really minimizes the impact, that showing up every day for ourselves, and we don't have to do it perfectly. We don't have to do it forever. It doesn't have to be long. We need to show up for ourselves. We need to show up for our health. We need to show up for our exercise. We need to show up for our sleep. That's really important. Cherie says, the exercise helps tremendously with my arthritis. If I slack off at all, I can really feel the difference. Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that, Cherie, because that just prompted me to actually sit taller and pull my shoulder blades down again at the back, which really helps me engage the muscles that support my lower back. So I'm at the crossroads. I could choose to do nothing. And just put up with the soreness and take the drugs, or I can choose to actually do what the physio is telling me to do and start to recruit all those muscles that need to be recruited to keep me strong for all the things that I want to do, because that is important to me. So now I'm going to just jump to, we've had the queen, we've had my back niggle. I'm going to jump to the woman in the store. I was in the adventure store the other day, helping a couple of members, and this woman came into the store. She was off on an adventure. She was, I didn't know her, quite demanding of, I've never been into a store like this before. How do I know what to buy? And why on earth should I pay this amount of money for this pair of pants? And we're listening to this conversation happening right there. And we have for anyone, but for members, there's a masterclass called Bottoms Up on Wednesday night about hiking pants, hiking clothes, because we hear all too often, there's nothing in my shape. You go into a store, it's a bit like buying a bra as well. You go into a store, there's hundreds of things there. Nothing is in my shape. Nothing is in my size. It's either too short, too long, too small. It doesn't sit right. Pockets are in the wrong place. How do I know whether I need shorts, pants, leggings, overpants, thermals, undies, all of those things around the bottom half of us? It can be really daunting walking into a store. And a lot of the comments I've been receiving lately are, there's no plus sizes in hiking clothes out there. Well, we've found some, and you can come to our masterclass on Wednesday and we can tell you where. But there's also no smaller sizes either. And there's no taller sizes as well. So it's not just you. If you think it's you and nothing fits you, it's not just you. There's a whole lot of women out there who aren't getting the right clothing for their needs, maybe paying too much as well, not getting the right materials, not getting the right functionality. And so that is in our masterclass on Wednesday night. So for members, that's all inclusive if you're of your membership. And if you're not a member, you can book in as a once-off, or you can join, click on that button that I've just put across the bottom, join membership. So the queen, my back niggle, the woman in the store, there's a theme here. And then the fourth one, all about 4 women, the woman and the dog. So I was out hiking the other day and with some people and with a group. Yes, looking forward to that masterclass as well. And 2 men and their daughter walked past. They were friendly, said hello. We came towards a picnic area and another group was coming towards us. Didn't know the other group, mixed group of people and their dogs. And the area is okay for dogs on leashes. And this may annoy some of you as dog owners, but I would love to hear your comments. The 2 men and the daughter that walked past me, one of the men got very, very agitated because he was terrified of dogs. These dogs were not on leads. And he was pleading with the woman who was leading this other group to put the dog back on the lead, to the point where he was very, very upset. So I stepped in and said to the woman, could you please put the dog on the lead? You're holding the lead in your hand. Your dog is just there. This is a dog area, but dogs need to be on leashes in the area. That's the requirement. She proceeded to not respond to me, just started yelling abuse at the man, and he got more agitated, and she kept yelling, and he said, where are you from? And she made up some group, which wasn't true. And the man was so scared that he ran off. And I thought to myself that, the other people with that woman, and there were a lot of them, accepted that behavior as okay. And to me, it wasn't okay, because somebody else was put in danger, and which could have been fixed by a simple solution. This isn't the first time, according to the man, that had happened. So we're talking about consistency and showing up, but showing up in the wrong way. And that all of those other people accepted her behavior. So I think from my perspective, This is all about showing up and all about being consistent. The standard of a behavior that you accept of others and accept of yourself, is all about your consistency and all about showing up. So lots of things came across my desk in the past week, and, you know, we can tie it all back to the Queen, of the lessons learned. You know, there would have been days, I don't know, I've never met her personally, in the past 70 years where she would have wanted to stay under the doona to, you know, big world issues, but she showed up. She did the hard stuff, and life some days is just hard. But we show up with enough consistency in our own life, with integrity, with our values intact, with who we are, for who we want to be as well. And we get the results that we want. We follow our North Star, our guiding star. So, you know, someone said to me the other day, you know, I want to go on this multi-day adventure. The training plan has a hike in it that is, you know, in the lead up, because you're out there hiking all day, that you need to do training for X number of hours. But this person didn't have time for X number of hours hiking. So I'm not really sure how you can, you know, and there's lots of ways you can get that. So, you know, please just, if something's important to you, prioritize it. Show up in the right way. Show up with the consistency and integrity to get you the result that you want. Don't look back on it. And I know we've done the Cinque Terre adventure many times, and the number one thing that women say to me is, I wish I'd followed the training plan. And we can do that across anything, because hindsight's an easy thing, foresight's a really hard thing. But just take it from me and that experience, that if we follow what the experts are telling us, what the coaches are telling us, what the heroes and the people we value are telling us, then we'll get the results that we want. Let me just check in at the comments. I've jumped all over the place tonight. Patricia says, that's definitely not okay. I was afraid of dogs for a long time, and I respect the rules. And yeah, and you know what? If something happens, it's not the dog's fault. You know, it's not the dog's fault, and it will ban it for others. That's not okay, and I'm saddened by the poor man's experience. Good on you for standing up. Yeah. When I look back, though, it was probably not a wise idea to stand up. You know, I could have got myself into quite a bit of trouble. Roanne says, the low standard you walk past is the standard you accept. Absolutely, it is. And that goes for everything in our life. It's like leaving rubbish. You know, if you walk past, you know, or leave your rubbish behind. And actually, when we were in Japan, our hiking adventure in Japan back in 2019, we didn't know, and we didn't do it intentionally, but we were in a food court and got up from our table and went, oh no, we've actually got to put the food in, you know, the leftover food in the bin, as we do here. But they actually have people that walk around and make sure that you don't leave your table until you've actually put your rubbish in the bin. So, you know, even that simple thing of the standard of behavior you walk past is the standard you accept. Will the masterclass on video? Yes. So all of our masterclasses will be available on replay for members. We need to do a bit of editing, so they take a good couple of days to get there, but they'll be available in your member resources. So great question, Debbie. And Lynette says, I love dogs, but always follow the rules when in public places. It's not everyone feels safe around them. Absolutely. And, you know, I'm a rule follower. Most of our members are rule followers as well. So that's why we get along so well. So just to summarize for tonight, you know, lessons learned from the Queen. And that probably just sums up everything, that, you know, 70 years on, she showed up. She had no idea there as that 20-something, and me here as my 55-year-old self, and you there as whatever age you are. You know, show up with consistency. You are inspiring someone somewhere. We may never know who that is. We may never know our legacy. The Queen may never know her legacy for, you know, well after she's long gone, but we've had an impact and an influence by the very behavior that we set for ourselves. It might be minimal, it might be small, and it might never be known to us. But if we live our lives with integrity, show up with consistency, then we will, you know, be the person that we were born to be. So that's it for this week from Monday Night Live. I was all over the shop, and a very different kind of Monday Night Live tonight than normal. But sometimes a bit of tough love is needed. So if you have a niggle, if you have an injury, If you have something that you know you should probably be looking into but aren't, then drop me a line in there. Let me know. Because, you know, life is all about being active. Life is all about living well. And when we can be active and live well, then we just feel good about ourselves. And when we feel good about ourselves, we do amazing things. And women doing amazing things can change the world. And never forget that. So that's it from me. I will go itchy neck, and I will see you next week. Thanks, Brod. Thanks for the feedback. Bye.